Let's see if we can get to Corey. Line 3. Corey, you there? Can you hear us?
Yep.
Oh, Corey, sorry about
me?
that. Yeah, it was some kind of gremlin in our system. Hey, Corey, good to talk to you, and I know you're probably pretty relieved over this decision by the Palm Beach County prosecutor, and that's now pushed to the wayside. But Cruz continues to maintain in these interviews that the campaign itself encourages violence because of its approach and tone and so forth. So it looks like they're not letting this go.
Well, look, you know what I think, Laura? I think that you've got a typical politician who is just so typical that if this incident occurred on his staff, his answer immediately was to fire the person. And that's the fundamental difference between a Donald Trump and a Ted Cruz, is loyalty, and obviously loyalty to me, and I am grateful and very, very thankful for what Mr. Trump has done for me and my family by standing behind me. But that's the type of loyalty our country needs. And that's the type of person that stands up for what is right, regardless of what the political pressures are. And I think what you see with Ted Cruz and candidly with most of these other all-talk, no-action politicians is they take positions that they think are politically expedient, not what is right, but what they think is expedient to save them. And that's the difference. And our country needs someone who's willing to fight for them for a change. Donald Trump is willing to stand up and say the words radical Islamic terrorism, right? Our president won't say that. The American people are smart. And what they understand is that when you have someone who's willing to fight for you, you're willing to fight for them. And that's what this is all about.
How does
for me,
right.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, how does the campaign play catch-up now on this delegate hunt? It is clear that Ted Cruz has a lot of this wired. He's very smart. He's organized on the ground. Byron New York has a piece out today saying that you guys you were cruising after these big victories in New Hampshire and South Carolina and Florida, but that the actual on-the-ground delegate work hadn't been done. Do you think, when looking back on this, that you guys should have moved earlier on that aspect of this race?
Well, here's the difference. What Ted Cruz is doing, because he's lost so many states, Donald Trump has won 21 states, and Ted Cruz has won less states right now than Rick Santorum did when he was running for president of the United States 4 years ago, is he's trying to make the story on the second and third and fourth ballot and going out and trying to claim victories. And he's trying to claim victories in places where, the GOP establishment and the GOP elite have not let people vote. And that's very clear.
But why didn't you guys know the rules? But why didn't you guys know the rules?
No. It's not that we don't know the rules. The
you
difference
just don't want to
is
follow
we
them?
know the rules. And no. Here's the problem. We've got 99 delegates coming out of Florida. We've got 11 delegates coming out of New Hampshire. All of these people are committed to Trump, and there's no question about it. What Ted wants to go out and say is, well, I'm going to go after second and third and fourth ballot people who may or may not be bound to Donald Trump. The difference is Donald Trump's going to have 1,237 delegates on the first round of balloting, and he will be the Republican nominee.
You're confident
of
that?
I am confident, because look at where New York is going right now. The election's on Tuesday. Donald Trump, by some public polls, has a 40-plus point lead. Ted Cruz is in third place. After Tuesday, Ted Cruz is going to be mathematically eliminated from actually being able to secure the nomination. So the question he has to ask himself is, why is he still running if he cannot mathematically be the president of the United States? It just doesn't make sense.
Hey,
he's doing it to be a foil.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what this party's about. If his goal, Laura, and everyone's goal, should be to take back the White House from the Democrats,
well, you're 10 points
unite
down.
behind Donald Trump.
Corey, in this most recent head-to-head, you're 10 points down. Is it the CBS? Yeah,
Donald
CBS,
Trump is
10
even,
points against
Donald
Hillary.
Trump is even with Hillary in Pennsylvania. He's the only person who's going to go and put Pennsylvania in play. He's going to beat her in Florida. He's going to beat her in places. Look at the map. The map is very simple. Ted Cruz can win the exact same states that Mitt Romney won 4 years ago, and he can't win one more. Donald Trump can win Michigan. He can win Pennsylvania, where he's running even right now with Hillary Clinton, and we haven't even started on that race. He's going to win Florida. He's going to win Virginia.
So if you win those,
once that happens, the map expands.
Yeah. If you win those,
well, not just that. Look at New York. Look at New York. Let's just say for a minute that the race is competitive in the state of New York because of Donald Trump's strong showing here and the people that know him the best. And the Democrats have to spend all their resources to hold a state like New York, even if they're successful. That doesn't happen if Ted Cruz is the nominee.
Have you contacted the unbound delegates in Pennsylvania? Has your operation been in contact with them? They're identified. People know who they are. Are you in contact with them, your campaign?
So we are. And the delegates in Pennsylvania are very unique. not only have we contacted them, but we filed our own slate of delegates in Pennsylvania. We're the only campaign to do that. And what we did very early on is we went out and identified people who we believed would be most likely to support Donald Trump if the race got to Pennsylvania. We did this 90 days ago. 120 days ago. We filed our own slate of delegates, and we will advocate for those delegates who are going to technically be unbound, but loyal to Trump in the first and second and third ballot.
Hey, Corey, congratulations on getting the New York Times front page profile today. I mean, they went through your, did they go through your school transcript? And I mean, it was quite
not just my school transcripts, but my children's school transcripts, which is the interesting part. You know, I think
four beautiful kids in New Hampshire. Corey Lewandowski, I think he can't hold on with us, but we'll take a break. If he can, we'll stay with him. Reince Priebus also joining us. Don't go away. We continue with Corey Lewandowski for a few moments before we get to Reince Priebus. Corey, are you all at war with the RNC, the Trump campaign?
No, we're not at war at all. You know what we are at war with is the establishment not letting people go and cast their ballot at the ballot box. And what we've seen in states where the people have the opportunity to go and vote, we've seen a massive increase in voter participation, which I think is good for the system. If you look at in Arizona, the lines were 4 hours long to go and vote, and Donald Trump obviously did very well there. And what we see is in places where you've got Democrats who are changing their party registration to become independents or Republicans so they can vote for Donald Trump, those are places where Donald Trump does very well. And I think that's the system that our founding fathers designed, was one person, one vote. You get
we're
to go
a representative democracy, though, right, Corey? We're a representative democracy.
Well,
you're not a pure democracy,
right? That's true, but
I mean, we could go there, but that might be tough for Republicans in some of these states like California.
Well, the representation should be you have the opportunity to go and vote. Now, look, if you want to hold a caucus, that's one way to do it. If you want to hold an election, that's another way to do it. I'm not saying which one is better. But what you can't do is tell 1 million people in the state of Colorado, you can't vote. And by the way, if you want to run for delegate, we're going to allocate you 10 seconds to stand up and make your pitch known to the people in the room. And what you shouldn't be able to do, and I understand these are the rules of the party, is to say you get to become a delegate based on a scoring preference, how much money you've given to the party, if you've run for office before, how much time you've allocated to the party, because that is what is stopping all these people who are fed up with a broken Washington from being involved again. Because Mary Smith, who's got 2 kids and a job, doesn't have time to donate money and run for statewide office. She has as much right to be a delegate as anyone else.
Yeah, one of the things that the Cruz folks are saying and some of their supporters is that here Donald Trump claims to be this guy who's the smartest guy and he can put together these great coalitions and deals and he's going to get it all done. And yet he couldn't even master the state rules to have a slate of delegates that was going to support him in this process, and now he's just a perpetual whiner about the stuff that he didn't do his homework on. So how can he deal with the North Korean and the Chinese threat if he can't deal with the Colorado electoral threat?
Look, here's the problem. Here's the problem with the rules. Donald Trump in the state of Florida received 99 delegates because he dominated the state against what was supposed to be the future of the Republican Party, won by 23 points. Of those 99 delegates that are assigned to Donald Trump, 30 of them are assigned by the party chairman, who was an open and public supporter of Marco Rubio. That means nothing other than the fact that the party chairman, who supported Marco Rubio publicly, gets to choose 30 of those delegates. There's nothing Donald Trump can do about that. He won 99 delegates, 30 of which are now going to be appointed by someone who was fundamentally opposed to Donald Trump's campaign. The other 66 delegates, or 69 delegates, have to go and run through a process which is so convoluted. If you didn't start running 18 months ago before Donald Trump announced, you can't even be considered in the process.
Yeah, it's the good thing about all of this is I think people are seeing how the state party machinery works, and by definition, it really is an insider's game. I mean, you have to spend time and oftentimes years burrowing into the party structure to really be part of the game. But it's a sovereign entity; they can create any rules they want. It's a private organization. They don't have to do anything until the people demand changes.
Most of these state parties get their money from the Republican National Committee. So there are very few state parties out there that are fully independent. Most of them get their money from the National Committee. And now, look, they can make their own rules. But again, I don't understand when you have a chairman of the party in the state of Florida, as an example, who's a Rubio supporter, publicly endorsed Rubio, has the ability to appoint 30 delegates that they're saying, well, Donald Trump was supposed to get those delegates. Well, that's right. but the chairman of the party can say, no, I'm going to pick my 30 best friends who aren't going to be Trump supporters because that's the rules of the party. That's not how this is supposed to work. Donald Trump went to Florida. He ran against the face of the party, and he dominated, and now somebody else is going to pick those delegates.
What about the reorganization of the campaign? You bring in a couple of guys. The guy you brought in was Kiley. He worked for Walker, and Walker didn't win. I mean, Walker lost, but he did the Walker effort, I guess, in Wisconsin for the presidential run. And then, of course, Manafort's been around forever. What does that mean for you? I mean, the New York Times says you've been somewhat diminished in your role. Is that just nothing, or have you been changed?
If I were you, I wouldn't believe everything you read in the New York Times. You may not believe that. But more importantly, you have to grow this campaign in order to win. We are going to run against, in the general election, a dominant machine. The Clinton machine or the Sanders machine.
You bet.
And we need to be prepared. And as you know, Laura, we have a small, tight-knit organization here because that's the way we've structured this. And it's been very successful. We're now moving to the phase where we're starting to prepare for a general election matchup. And if we can't bring the absolute very best in, look, I've been working with Rick Wiley to bring him to this campaign for 60 days.
Riley.
We finally got it done.
I called him Kiley. So, Wiley. Thank you.
Well, and look, we're going to announce more people. We're going to continue to grow our Washington, D.C. operation. We're going to bring more people into the fold because we have to do that to be successful. And I looked at CNN last week and had the story of Bill Clinton running against George H.W. Bush, that election in 92. And I looked at the people who were sitting in that room for Clinton in 1992, and he had 25 absolute killers in that room, from Stephanopoulos to Carville to Begala to everybody else. We need to grow our team so we have the absolute very, very best to run against what will be a massive Clinton machine if she's the nominee.
You're going to have to raise money. You guys are going to have to raise money. You could get $100 million overnight if you ask for small contributions, but you guys are going to have to start raising the money. When are you going to start doing that?
Well, look, once Donald Trump is the nominee, he said he will raise money for all those down-ballot races, and he'll raise more money than anybody has ever done. So Corey, we're looking forward for that opportunity.
Corey, I'm glad you beat the rap. It was ridiculous from the beginning. Thank you so much for spending time with us. We really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.